What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to C2M Sports, and in today's video I'm going to be going over both games from the college football playoff semifinal and just give you my overall thoughts on how each team played in their respective game. If you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever a new video is posted, leave a like, and also comment down below were the outcomes of each game what you all expected, why or why not. Make sure to leave that comment down below, and let's just get straight into it. So the first game we're going to talk about here is the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, and that was between the number 4 Cincinnati Bearcats and the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, I did say Alabama was going to win in my prediction video, and I got that right. But the only things I didn't get right were 1, the score obviously, and 2, how Alabama was going to win that game. I had said in the prediction video that I thought this was going to be a shootout for about 3 quarters, more or less, and then Bama was just going to run away with it at the end, with Bryce Young leading the offense at the end and shutting it down in the 4th quarter. And judging by the first drives in the 1st quarter, I thought this was going to be a pretty good game. Alabama started off strong, scored a touchdown on their first drive, and on Cincinnati's first drive, I mean, it looked like they were going to make the game competitive. And even though they got stopped on 3rd down and kicked the field goal, I still thought, this offense was looking pretty good, and I thought it was going to be a shootout again. But then the defenses for both teams really took over towards the end of the 1st quarter and for about the majority of the 2nd quarter. And it was 10-3 Alabama for a while until they scored that touchdown at the end of the 2nd quarter. And Cincinnati was making this game competitive in the first half. Their defense, they were able to keep it somewhat close in the first half. But then things really got going for Bama once they started to establish a run game with Brian Robinson. I mean, he had an insane game, running for 204 yards and 26 carries. Even though he didn't score any touchdowns, 204 yards rushing, that's pretty good to me. And by establishing the run game, that allowed the passing game to open up in the 2nd half and just allowed Bryce Young to do his thing and make some quality throws. And I don't think Cincinnati's defense played all that poorly, even though the score may say otherwise. I just think they got fatigued because that Cincinnati offense could not stay on the field to save their lives. That Cincinnati offensive line played really poorly, and Desmond Ridder just did not look comfortable the entire game. I was so wrong to underestimate that Bama front 7 and think that Will Anderson and Christian Turner weren't going to overwhelm that Cincinnati offensive line, but hey, I was going based off of what I had seen in the regular season. It could have gone either way, but they really showed up in this game and they played so well. I mean, they were bringing pressure all game. They had 6 total sacks on Ridder. They were batting down passes left and right. I mean, Desmond Ridder really couldn't do much all game. Not to mention that Cincinnati was making a lot of little mistakes, and it really made it that much more difficult for them to try and win this game. Just too many offsides penalties, a delay game here and there, and just using timeouts to avoid delay of game, and that's going to cost you in the long run. Overall, even though Bama didn't look their best, they just dominated in all 4 quarters of this game. But major kudos to Cincinnati for even getting this far as a group of 5 team. We all know that Power 5 teams are just favored when it comes down to those final playoff spots because of the strength of schedule and the teams they play. But for Cincinnati as a group of 5 team to go undefeated the entire regular season, win their conference championship, making them 13-0, and getting that 4th spot in the college football playoff, I mean, that's just a major accomplishment. And they really proved in this game that they can play against a top tier team like Alabama. They were able to keep it close for most of the first half, so major props to them. And they just had a fantastic season, so really happy for Cincinnati. And now next up, we have the Capital One Orange Bowl between the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs and the number 2 Michigan Wolverines. My goodness, was I completely wrong about this game. I'll admit I had a very difficult time trying to predict this game just because I thought both defenses were pretty evenly matched. Even though I thought Georgia had the slight edge on defense, I thought that Michigan's offense was more talented and they had the potential to do what Alabama did to Georgia in the SEC championship. But I was dead wrong. I mean, I thought this game was going to be at least somewhat competitive, even if I wasn't too confident in my prediction. But this game was all Georgia all 4 quarters. And I did say this in my prediction video. I did say that Georgia was going to come with some energy after being embarrassed by Alabama, but I didn't think Georgia was just going to absolutely dominate Michigan like that. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. This defense absolutely clobbered McNamara and Haskins both, with McNamara throwing 2 interceptions, only 106 yards, and 0 touchdowns, and Haskins only running for 39 yards in 9 carries. That's really not good for a running back of that caliber. Georgia's defense was just bringing pressure all game long, and honestly, when I was watching that game, it just felt like Georgia knew what play was coming the majority of the time. They were stopping the run nearly all game, didn't really have Hassan Haskins or Donovan Edwards have a big run. It looked like the Michigan receivers were just outmatched physically the entire game. And they did have quite a few drops that really killed momentum for them early on. But now let's talk about that Georgia offense. I mean, they absolutely destroyed that Michigan defense that a lot of people had high hopes for. I did say in the prediction video, I thought that Stetson Bennett was going to come back and have a pretty decent game after that SEC championship loss, but he just absolutely balled out. He threw for 313 yards with 3 touchdowns, and he just really looked comfortable all game. He was throwing awesome passes, making some big explosive plays that really helped this Georgia offense. And how about James Cook with 112 receiving yards on 4 receptions only and a touchdown? He's a running back. And now going over to Michigan's defense, that Michigan front 7 just didn't look like the Michigan front 7 that we had seen all season long. Aiden Hutchinson just didn't play his best game, and he just looked outmatched physically at times against that Georgia offensive line. And oh my God, can we talk about that Michigan secondary? They just got cooked all game long by those Georgia receivers. The Georgia receivers averaged 15.8 yards per reception against Michigan's defense. So that means if Georgia was throwing the ball, they were getting a first down on average, and even more. One last thing I'll mention about Michigan is that the play calling just didn't seem that great on either side of the ball. I'll give you a couple of examples, with the first one being this play in the first half of the game. I'm not sure if it was the first or second quarter, but it was 3rd down and 16. And you're thinking 3rd down and 16, okay, just throw a ball down the field, medium to deep pass, and let your receiver do the work. But they decided to throw a running back screen in the backfield. I forgot if it was to Haskins or Edwards, I'm not sure. But they call a running back screen in the backfield, and they only get like 2 yards on that play, forcing them to, I think, punt in that drive. But still, I mean, it's 3rd down and 16. Why are you calling a running back screen? Another example is from the middle of the second quarter. Michigan, they were driving down the field. McNamara threw some good passes, and McNamara was even able to hit Roman Wilson for a 42-yard bomb that really sparked some momentum within that Michigan offense. And I'm just thinking, okay, just keep doing that. McNamara has a solid drive going on right now. Or if you want to switch things up, just give it to Haskins and let him do his thing. But no, they decided to get fancy, run a fake reverse, and McNamara is sacked before he even knows it. So that's enough of me bashing Michigan. I'm not a Michigan fan. I just thought, like many other people, that they were going to make this game competitive and play a solid game and possibly even win. But overall, Georgia played a phenomenal game on both sides of the ball, and they proved to a lot of people, including me, that they are definitely a top 2 team in the nation. Even though Michigan didn't play well at all in this game, the fact that they were able to turn this program around after many disappointing seasons under Harbaugh as the head coach, and to see Harbaugh finally have a very successful season, it was very impressive. It's really good to see Michigan competing for a college football playoff spot again and making the Big Ten competitive and not just having Ohio State run the table every year. So that's going to be all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed that. Let me know down below if you agreed with anything I said, if you disagreed with anything I said. I'd love to hear your comments down below. And also comment if the outcomes of each game were what you all expected. I'd love to hear those thoughts as well down below. And once again, if you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever a new video is posted. And don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Take care, everybody.